right, so who doesn't want a beautiful garden?
Absolutely.
But who has the time?
Exactly.
We are going to dive deep into low-maintenance gardens today
Sounds good.
with this piece breaking down design, costs, you know who benefits the most,
Awesome.
all that good stuff. So,
Yeah, it's a really cool way to kind of
mm.
approach gardening because a lot of people think it's just like throwing down some gravel and calling it a day, but there's actually like a real strategy involved.
So no more spending every single weekend out there weeding.
Well, you're going to have to weed a little bit, but
Right.
the idea is you're really working with nature, not against it.
Okay.
And that starts with like plant choices.
So native plants, got it.
Yes.
What else? What else can we be doing? I want like maximum free time.
Yeah, so, the native plants are great, but then there are native plants that are kind of like the workhorses, like yarrow
Okay.
is an example of that. Not only is it drought tolerant, but it actually releases this like chemical that repels certain pests.
Oh, wow.
So it's like doing pest control for you.
It's like a built-in defense system.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay.
That's what's great.
So strategic choices, what else?
Mulch.
Mulch.
Mulch is your secret weapon.
Okay.
And not just like any old wood chips. I mean, like you want to choose wisely.
Okay.
So like shredded bark, for example, breaks down slower.
Oh.
So it lasts longer. So that's fewer top-ups for you.
So there's like different kinds of mulches and they have different benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
Tell me more about this magic mulch.
it's all about mimicking like nature's processes. So when you think about like a forest floor,
Okay.
you've got that layer of like leaves and decomposing, organic matter.
Right.
And that helps retain moisture in the soil.
Okay.
So you water less.
Less watering I'm in.
It acts as a natural weed barrier.
Even better.
So less time hunched over pulling those pesky things.
Okay.
And then as it decomposes, it enriches the soil. So it's like a slow release fertilizer.
So it's like water conservation,
Yep.
weed control, and soil enrichment all in one.
It's the triple threat.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about watering? Because that's another thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
That takes so much time.
Yeah. Is there a way to make that less of a chore?
Yeah, so your traditional sprinklers can be pretty wasteful, spraying water everywhere.
Just spraying all over the place.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
drip irrigation systems are really great because they deliver water directly to the roots of your plants.
Okay.
So it's like giving them a personalized drink right where they need it.
No more watering the sidewalk. I like it.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And then what about, the parts of the garden that aren't plants?
Yeah.
The paths, the patios, like how do those fit into this whole low maintenance picture?
Yeah. So you're talking about hardscaping,
Yes.
and it plays a crucial role.
Okay.
Think of it as the backbone
Okay.
of your like low maintenance design.
All right.
So stone pathways, they not only look good,
Right.
but they reduce the areas you have to mow or weed.
Okay.
And then like a strategically placed patio
Yeah.
creates this space where you can actually enjoy your garden
Yeah.
without having to constantly like tend to it.
So it's not just about like reducing the size of your lawn. It's about being smart about the elements that you were going to put in.
Exactly.
Okay.
And really using them to reduce the amount of maintenance.
But wouldn't all this designing and planning be a bit overwhelming for someone who's not like, a professional landscaper?
That's where kind of the pro tip comes in.
Okay.
Simplicity is key.
Okay.
The simpler your layout, the easier it is to maintain.
Less is more.
Exactly.
Okay.
So stick to like a straightforward layout, clean lines, larger planting beds,
Mm-hmm.
much easier to maintain than something that's got lots of curves and intricate details.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So we've talked about choosing the right plants, mulching like a pro, simplifying the layout.
Yeah.
Are there any other design tricks we can use to really make a difference here?
Perennials. Embrace the power of perennials.
Perennials.
Yes, they are your low maintenance heroes.
Okay.
They come back year after year.
Okay.
They provide structure and color, and you don't have to replant them every season.
So they are like the reliable friends of the
The
plant world.
Yes.
Okay. I like that.
so think of them as the anchors
Okay.
of your garden.
All right.
They provide that like framework,
Yeah.
and then you can fill in with annuals for pops of color or seasonal interest.
So you're building like a good foundation and then adding in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pops of things.
I like that. But even with all these clever tricks, there has to be some drawbacks to this whole low maintenance gardening thing, right?
Of course. I mean,
Is there anything we should be wary of?
yeah. I mean, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
If you're someone who thrives on like the constant tending and nurturing,
Oh, yeah.
the hands-off approach might not be as fulfilling.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's about finding a gardening style that matches your personality
absolutely.
and your lifestyle.
Hmm.
So for those who are looking for that more relaxed approach,
Yeah.
what are some of the benefits they can expect?
Well, I mean, let's start with the obvious. One time, we'll have more of it.
Time, yes, please.
Less watering, weeding, fertilizing equals more time to actually, like, enjoy your outdoor space
Yeah.
or pursue other interests,
I like that.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever those may be.
Time is precious these
Yeah,
days.
it is.
Okay, what about the financial side of things?
Yeah.
Any advantages there?
Absolutely. Low-maintenance gardens can actually save you money in the long run.
Okay.
So you'll be using less water, which means lower water bills.
Less water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since native plants are generally adapted to your local pests,
Right.
you won't need to spend as much on pesticides.
So it's like eco-friendly
Yeah,
and wallet-friendly.
exactly.
I'm liking this more and more. But is there a risk that they might, lack that visual appeal
Right.
of like a more traditional high-maintenance garden?
Not at all.
Okay.
Low-maintenance gardens can be just as stunning, if not more so.
Really?
Um, the key is to embrace a different kind of beauty.
Okay.
So instead of like, perfectly manicured rows
Yeah.
of exotic flowers, you're going to have a more naturalistic landscape
Okay.
with textures and shapes and colors that change with the seasons.
So it's a more dynamic, evolving kind of beauty?
Hmm? Yeah, exactly.
I can dig it. All right, what about environmental impact? I'm guessing this scores some points there too.
You bet.
Heck.
So by choosing native plants, you're supporting local biodiversity.
Okay.
These
Yeah.
plants provide food and habitat
Right.
for native insects, birds, other wildlife.
Yeah.
Plus, you're reducing your reliance on chemical fertilizers and pesticides,
Good.
which is a win for the environment.
So it's like a more holistic approach to gardening.
It is.
Benefits the gardener and the surrounding ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's flip the coin for a minute.
Sure.
What about the downsides?
Okay.
What are some potential challenges or limitations?
Well, one thing to consider is the initial investment.
Okay.
Creating a well-designed, low-maintenance garden can require some upfront costs, especially if you're starting from scratch.
Sure.
You got to think about things like soil amendments,
Right.
high-quality plants,
Mm-hmm.
efficient irrigation systems.
So it's an investment up front, but with the potential for long-term savings
Exactly.
down the line. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other trade-offs?
Well, it's true that you might have a slightly more limited plant palette
Okay.
compared to a traditional garden.
Mm-hmm.
Um, focusing on native and drought-tolerant species means you might not be able to grow certain exotic or high-maintenance plants.
Right. But there's still plenty of variety, I imagine, within the realm of low-maintenance
Well,
plants.
absolutely. I mean, there's a whole world of beautiful and fascinating native plants out there.
Good. Good to know. Okay.
Um,
Let's talk cost.
okay.
How much can someone expect to spend?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
So the initial costs can vary widely depending on the size and complexity of your garden.
Okay.
Things like professional design fees, plant costs, installation of hardscaping elements
Right.
can all add up.
Okay. So there's a range there.
Yeah.
But we also mentioned some potential long-term savings.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So over time, you'll likely spend less on water fertilizers,
Yeah.
pesticides, even lawn care if you've reduced your lawn size.
Right.
And those savings can offset the initial investment
Okay.
and potentially even make low-maintenance gardening more cost-effective in the long run.
So while the initial price tag might seem a bit higher,
Yeah.
the ongoing costs
Correct.
could
Yeah.
be significantly lower.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Uh-uh.
What about ongoing maintenance? Is it truly low maintenance? Or do you still need to call in the pros for help?
I mean, the beauty of a well-designed low-maintenance garden is that it requires minimal upkeep.
Okay.
Once it's established, you'll spend way less time on things like weeding, watering, and pruning.
So it's more about enjoying the garden than working in it.
Exactly.
That does sound idyllic.
Yeah.
But who exactly is this type of gardening best suited for? Is it for everyone?
While I think most people could benefit from like the advantages of low-maintenance gardening, there are certain groups for whom it's a particularly perfect fit.
Okay.
So, for instance, busy professionals or families
Okay.
who are short on time but still want a beautiful outdoor space.
Yeah, it's like having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
A stunning garden without all the chores.
Exactly.
Who else comes to mind?
Um, People with physical limitations or mobility issues
Okay.
can also find low-maintenance gardening to be much more accessible
Yeah.
and manageable.
Makes sense.
A garden that's easier to navigate and care for can make a huge difference
Absolutely.
in their ability to enjoy the outdoors.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Environmentally conscious individuals
Okay.
who are looking to reduce their impact on the planet
Yeah.
are naturally drawn to the sustainable practices of low-maintenance gardening.
Right.
They appreciate the reduced water usage, the limited need for chemicals, the support for local ecosystems.
Yeah. So it's a win-win
Yeah,
for both the gardener and the environment.
absolutely.
Any other groups stand out?
Absolutely. Think about vacation homeowners
Hmm.
or people who travel frequently.
Right.
They might not be able to provide constant care
Right.
for a high-maintenance garden.
No, that would be very difficult.
Yeah,
What about people who are new to gardening? Would this be suitable for them?
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
actually a great way for beginners to dip their toes into the world of gardening
Okay.
without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So by starting with plants that are naturally low maintenance, they can gain confidence and experience success early on.
It's like the easy mode setting for gardening.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah,
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
we have.
from design principles to cost to who benefits most.
We do.
But I think our listener is eager to hear some specific examples.
Sure.
What are some low maintenance plants
Okay.
that would thrive in most regions?
One of my all-time favorites is Russian sage.
Russian sage. Okay.
It's drought tolerant, deer resistant, and attracts pollinators.
Okay, so Russian sage is officially on my list.
All right.
What else?
Another winner is lavender.
Lavender. Oh, yeah.
Not only does it have those beautiful purple blooms and that wonderful fragrance,
Mm-hmm.
it's also incredibly low maintenance.
Okay.
It thrives in full sun
Okay.
and well-drained soil.
Plus, I've heard it can help repel mosquitoes.
Yeah?
So you can enjoy those warm summer evenings without getting bitten.
Now you're talking working smarter, not harder.
Right. It's like a natural bug repellent built right into your garden.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, so we've got Russian sage, lavender.
Yes.
What other low-maintenance superstars should our listeners consider?
If you're looking for something with a bit more height and drama,
Okay.
I'd recommend ornamental grasses.
Oh, yeah.
They add movement and texture to the landscape
Mm-hmm.
and require very little care once they're established.
They always look so elegant, blowing in the wind.
They do.
Any particular varieties you'd suggest?
One that comes to mind is Carl Forster feathery grass.
Carl Forster feather reed grass.
Yeah, it's a real showstopper. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got these upright, feathery plumes
Okay.
that can reach up to 6 feet tall.
Wow.
And the best part is it's incredibly low maintenance.
Okay.
Just cut it back in late winter or early spring before new growth emerges.
Okay, note to self. Carl Forster feather reed grass.
Yeah.
On the shopping list, I'm already picturing it.
Um,
Swaying gracefully in my garden, all right?
yeah,
Before we get too carried away with the plant shopping, I want to bring it back to the bigger picture here.
sure.
What's the ultimate takeaway here for our listener?
I think the key takeaway is that low maintenance gardening is about creating a garden that works for you, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making conscious choices that align with your lifestyle, your values, and your aesthetic preferences.
So it's about designing a space that brings you joy
Yes,
without adding stress to your life.
exactly.
Love that. And on that note, what's one small step our listener can take today to start moving toward a more low-maintenance approach in their own garden?
I'd say the first step is to simply observe your current garden.
Okay.
What areas require the most maintenance?
Okay.
Are there any plants that are constantly struggling?
Mm-hmm.
Once you've identified those kind of problem areas, you can start brainstorming solutions.
So it's about taking a step back.
Yeah.
Assessing the situation before diving into any drastic changes.
Yeah, and remember, it's a journey, not a race.
Okay.
You don't have to transform your entire garden overnight.
Right.
Start with one small change.
Yeah.
Whether it's replacing a thirsty plant with a drought-tolerant alternative or adding a layer of mulch to your existing beds.
Okay.
You know,
Those small changes can add up to a big difference over time.
they really can.
Okay.
And as you become more comfortable with the low-maintenance approach, you can gradually expand your efforts.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And who knows, you might even discover a newfound love for native plants
Right.
and the unique beauty they bring to the landscape.
Well, I think that's a wonderful note to end on. Embrace the low maintenance approach.
Yeah.
Start small.
Yep.
And enjoy the journey. Until next time, happy gardening.
Happy gardening.